Hotep brothers and sisters, Hotep, come here today because we reached a critical point in the scholarship of Nile Valley civilization. It has recently come to our attention that the history of the Nile Valley has been separated into two categories. One, Kemetic or Egyptian, another one, Nubian, which is a much older and a much more vibrant part of our civilization, but very little known about. On Sunday, May 1st, 2001, we have an unprecedented summit on Nubia, where hundreds of people will be coming from New York, convening in Boston for the first annual summit on Nubia.
This special occasion is historic because rarely could someone say they're going on a pilgrimage in America to the Nile Valley. But the Boston Museum of Fine Arts has the largest collection, I believe, in North America, in the Western Hemisphere, of the work, the great monumental work found in the southern part of the Nile Valley. It's certainly important for us to understand that these are great times for research and for analysis, because so many things have been exploding on the scene that give us new insight, greater understanding of the legacy of the Nile Valley. And one of the great projects that our scholars and researchers have been involved in is linking the various parts of the Nile Valley together. For example, Egypt, referred to in the old days as Kemet, is linked to its southern component in Nubia, around Aswan, and also to the heartland of Nubia in the Sudan. And so we've been blessed that there have been finds that have affirmed the significance of the cultural unity of the Nile Valley. And there have been discoveries that have been monumental, particularly in reference to the 25th dynasty, the Nubian Renaissance. Our great scholar and leader, who is now ancestor, Dr. Asa Hilliard, talked to us about the various golden ages of the Nile. In fact, he had created a chronology that dealt with the Old Kingdom, around 3100 BC, the unity of what we call Kemet Egypt, the upper and lower parts of Egypt, Kemet. And then he talked about this great period of the Middle Kingdom, 2100 BC to about 1600 BC, a great golden age of 500 years where the Africans were putting together the scientific documents, the so-called Epirus medical papyrus, the Ren mathematical papyrus, the Berlin papyrus, the Moscow papyrus, the Milan papyrus, the Turin papyrus. All these are great works by Africans dealing with medicine and mathematics, but the names that they've been given reflect the museums in Europe where they are housed. But they have nothing to do with Moscow, nothing to do with Tehran in Italy, nothing to do with Milan in Italy, nothing to do with Berlin. They have to do with the great legacy of Africans.
I make this plea to you to come to this trip for several reasons. One, because Nubia is a part of our history, a part of our legacy that is very little known of. Most people don't know anything about Nubia. People today have embraced Kemetic society or embraced Kemetic culture, but know very little about its origins and where it originated. There's things from Nubia that we see in Kemet, but don't know where they came from. But once we get into Nubian civilization and Nubian culture, we realize that Nubia is the mother of ancient Kemet. So if you're going to embrace Kemet, you must embrace Nubia. Now, there are things about Nubia that we don't know anything about. The question is why? Why is Nubia so shrouded in mystery? Why is this placed in obscurity? Why many people don't know anything about Nubia? You got to ask yourself these questions. In the 1960s and early 1900s, the series of dams began to be constructed in the region of the Upper Nile area. These dams caused extensive flooding, creating the largest man-made lake in the world, known as Lake Nasser, which destroyed thousands and thousands of years of archaeological sites. there were things that were unearthed during this period by UNESCO, which was able to establish the link between Kemet and Nubia. Now, this devastation is being replicated in the Sudan once again with the construction of the Hamdab and the Kajbar dams. The unfortunate thing in this period is there is no UNESCO, there is no international team of people paying attention to this. So us as a people, we're interested in our culture, we must stand up and take a stance and get involved in things like this.
And so, brothers and sisters, we need you to come. And those people who will come, we need you to take this information and we need you to share it with other people so that we understand there is no great distinction between the Kemetu who were in Kemet and the Kemetu who were in ancient Kush. They were one people divided by borders, spoke a different language, sometimes wore different clothes, but they shared a common culture. They shared a common creativity. They shared a common genius. And even when Kemet fell, when the Greeks and the Romans took over, ancient Kush still flourished for another 1,000 years. And so Kush was in existence before Kemet, gave birth to Kemet, it watched its child die, and then it took up where the child left and continued to grow for another 1,000 years or so. Ancient Kush, as we know it, doesn't really begin to filter way into Islam is created, and then that will destroy it from the outside to the end. But again, religions have been responsible for destroying our spiritual works, and that's so that, and then they try to hide the origin of the religion. But at this summit, you're going to learn the origins of all the major religions of today. You're going to learn the origins of where all this information comes from, the origins of the cosmologies that is being used and professed by secret societies, and all these cycles of high knowledge. You're going to see the foundation of all of them. All starts here in the Happy Valley. But remember, ancient Kush, not only is it the parent of ancient Kush, it was an incubator of where the knowledge of interior of Africa was harnessed, developed, and then gave birth to Kemet. And now this information then became spread all throughout the planet. Because remember, we are the indigenous people on all of the continents. So we have to be real clear about that. So when we say that we are the original people, don't just think we're just confining it just to the African continent. We are the indigenous people on all of the continents, in which we're all connected to Africa.
We need to come together on this day. This is going to be a fantastic event. Some of the great scholars are going to be there. Dr. Leonard Jeffries, Brother Anthony Browder is going to be there. Brother Mfundishi is going to be there. We invited many others to come out. So once again, Sunday, May 1st, 2001. For more information, contact 917-834-5100 Hotel.